the ladder teaches us that character growth determines the height of your personal growth. Without character growth, your personal growth is diminished. 1 Samuel 16, verse 7, "But the Lord said to Samuel, do not look on his appearance or on the height of his stature, because I have rejected him. For the Lord sees not as man sees. Man looks on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart." A 25-year study by Professors James Kouzes and Barry Posner, they asked this question: what values, personal traits, or characteristics do you look for or admire in a leader? 75,000 interviews on 6 different continents. What qualities admired most in leaders? The highest ranking answer is always honesty. Honesty is the core of good character. It's the quality that most enhances or damages personal reputations. They said that from the first time they conducted their study, honesty has been at the top of the list every year. Proverbs already lets us know that in 10 and 9. Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but he who makes his ways crooked will be found out. No one likes to work with unreliable, dishonest people. If you cannot trust yourself, you won't ever be able to grow. Good character with honesty and integrity at its core is essential to success in any area of life. Without it, a person is building on shifting sand. I'm sure that honesty would be found to be at the top of the list in a survey in marriages or friendships between consumers and retailers, and the list just goes on. Lying even finds itself etched on the tables of stone given to Moses on Mount Sinai, the famous document called the 10 Commandments. So it ranks high. People often focus on their professional capacity without developing character. And it almost always costs them in the end. It costs them their personal relationships and often their career. General Norman Schwarzkopf, a Desert Storm fame, said 99% of leadership failures are failures of character. Most people focus on competence and too little on character. Character is developed over time by making the right choices in your life, sometimes at the most difficult times. But once you tarnish your character, you got to work even harder to repair it. Guard your character, strengthen it, and it will repay your efforts for a lifetime. Character growth determines the height of your personal growth, and that's the law of the ladder. Here are rungs on most people's character ladder. The number 1 rung is I will focus on being better on the inside than on the outside, because character matters. Matthew, Jesus said, "Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you make clean the outside of the cup and of the platter, but within they are full of extortion and excess. Thou blind Pharisee, cleanse first that which is within the cup and the platter, that the outside of them may be clean also." What can get us in trouble is worrying more about how we look on the outside than about how we really are on the inside. Our reputation comes from what others believe about our outside. Our character represents who we are on the inside. If you focus on being better on the inside than on the outside, over time, you will also become better on the outside. You know, the inside influences the outside. Proverbs 23 and 7, "For as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." What we believe really matters. We reap what we sow. What we do or neglect to do in the privacy of our daily lives impacts who we are. If you neglect your heart, mind, and soul, it changes who you are on the outside as well as on the inside. You know, inside victories precede outside victories. If you do things you need to do when you need to do them, then someday you can do the things you want to do when you want to do them. In other words, before you can do, you must be. Continual growth and lasting success are the result of aligning the inside and the outside of our lives. And getting the inside right must come first, with solid character traits that provide the foundation for growth. Right outward talking with wrong inward thinking will not bring lasting success. Our inside development is totally within our control. We often cannot determine what happens to us, but we can always determine what happens within us. Jim Rohn said, character is a quality that embodies many important traits such as integrity, courage, perseverance, confidence, and wisdom. Unlike your fingerprints that you were born with and can't change, character is something you create within yourself and must take responsibility for changing. If you want to be successful, you must prioritize building your inside ahead of your outside. I don't think the average person quite understands how the inside influences the outside and how the growing on the inside attracts what you need to succeed in life. People don't seem to give this concept much thought or weight, mostly because they have a poor self-image about themselves. Not to mention, the premise of growing on the inside cannot be seen, which doesn't make it tangible to them. Because it's intangible, they can't put 1 + 1 together to equal 2. I think a great principle from Scripture, I will follow the golden rule, and that is, people matter. 1 John 3:16, by this we know love, that he laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for the brothers. 1 John 4:8 says, anyone who does not love does not know God, because God is love. Ask yourself what you want people to do for you. Then grab the initiative and just do it for them. The golden rule leads you to be empathetic. It encourages you to take the high road. Another rung in this ladder of growth, I will teach only what I believe, because passion matters. 1 John 2:5, but whoever keeps his word, in him truly the love of God is perfected. By this we may know that we are in him. Borrowed beliefs have no passion, therefore they have no power. People who lack principles and passion become beige people. The biblical word is lukewarm, or what I might say is half-hearted, limp-wristed. I don't believe that. I will also value humility above all virtues, because perspective matters. I think anyone who is honest with himself realizes that he falls short of where he could and should be in life. In fact, we're all just one step away from being stupid. While nobody plans to mess up their life, the problem is that few of us plan not to. That is, we don't put the necessary safeguards in place to ensure a happy ending. There's some ways you can ensure a happy ending. Number one, remember the big picture. It is said that John Kennedy, our president, kept a small plaque in the White House with this inscription, "Oh God, thy sea is so great and my boat is so small." What a perspective that is. He was president. And number two, recognize that everyone has weaknesses. Pastor Rick Warren gives good advice about how to remain humble. He suggests admitting our weaknesses, be patient with other people's weaknesses, and be open to correction. Great advice. Third is to be teachable. I love being around people who have a beginner's mindset. They think of themselves as apprentices instead of experts, and as a result, have a humble, teachable posture. They try to see things from other people's perspective, always willing to learn. They're open to new ideas. They possess a thirst for knowledge. They ask questions and know how to listen. I admire people that have this teachable spirit. I want to be more like them. And then fourth, be willing to serve others. I love being around people who have a beginner's mindset and they go after this thing with a humble spirit, but also love people who are willing to just serve. Few things are better for cultivating character and developing humility than serving others. Putting others first, it right sizes our egos and our perspectives. Another principle to employ in our life is to be grateful. Gratitude is acknowledging that someone did something for me that I could not do for myself. Gratitude expresses our vulnerability and our complete dependence on others. Chinese proverb says that those who drink from the water must remember who dug the well. Everything we do, every accomplishment we have, every milestone we pass has come in part because of the efforts of others. Most people take this concept for granted. They forget the hard work and sacrifices that go into the littlest things that people take for granted. Because of this mindset, they don't understand that even the smallest of things that we take for granted, like drinking water from a faucet, actually started from a dream, a passion, hard work, creativity, failures and setbacks, until the process was perfected. Another principle to put in our lives, I will strive to finish well because faithfulness matters. To do the right thing, I don't wait to feel like it. I recognize that emotion follows motion. Do the right thing and you'll feel right. Do the wrong thing, you'll feel bad. If you take control of your behavior, your emotions will fall into place. If we desire to grow and reach our potential, we must pay more attention to our character than to our success. We must recognize that personal growth means more than expanding our minds and adding to our skill set. It means increasing our capacity as human beings. It means maintaining core integrity. Even when it hurts, it means being who we should be, not just being where we want to be. It means maturing our souls. Some people are born mud and remain mud. Sadly, some are born marble and die mud. Some are born mud and dream of marble but remain mud. But many persons of high character have been born mud and they died marble. It is sad to say, if you ask 100 people to define the word character, you would be amazed at the crazy answers you'll get. Most people don't really know what character is, and more importantly, how to build it. Plus, they have no idea how character directly affects their life. Today's society is more focused on getting theirs, no matter how they get it, rather than getting it with good character. If you want to climb the ladder of success, personal growth is measured by our character growth. Grow your character, and you'll grow your personal growth also.